We're making keto French macaron. Let's go. But before we go, let me tell you, I have spent the entire week making macarons and well, none of them worked, and I kept making alterations after alteration after alteration. I'm just going to say a quick hi. We're going to get straight into the recipe and I'll give you some tips and tricks later. First, prepare a baking sheet and line it with baking or parchment paper. I cut mine to size, then drew a template, aiming for my macarons to be 1.5 inches or 4 centimeters in size. I also left a space between so the macarons have room. Then I greased the border of the paper, flipped it over, then attached it to the sheet, and you can still see the lines, and that's why I only greased the border. Next, to a bowl add 3 egg whites at room temperature, with the total weight being about 92 grams, and no, you cannot use carton egg whites as it doesn't work well. Whisk until stiff, and you see how thick mine is. To the egg whites, add 1/4 teaspoon of egg white powder, and I'm going to sift that in. 1/4 cup of heavy cream and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla or your favorite flavoring of choice. Then set that aside, and we aren't going to mix that just yet. To counteract the grainy texture of the sweetener, we are going to melt the sweetener first. Over a low heat, add almost a cup of sweetener weighing 150 grams and 2 tablespoons of water. Let the sweetener gently melt over the low heat, which will minimize it turning brown. When the sweetener is all melted, add a teaspoon of melted butter, stir that in, then add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Whisk, whisk, whisk vigorously and keep whisking, only stopping to grab your hand whisk. While whisking the egg white mixture, slowly pour in the hot sweetener mixture and whisk thoroughly. Lastly, gradually add 1 cup or 115 grams of sifted almond flour, and now we are going to macaronage, which is just folding and stirring between additions of the flour. And this is going to get rid of any air bubbles, and it also could give you a smooth mixture. And this is the consistency you're looking for, just thick enough for the batter to hold its shape when you're piping it onto the lined baking sheet. Here I'm just showing you what I do to prevent a semi-runny batter from falling out of the tip when I fill the bag. And when I'm done filling, I also push the batter forward so I don't have any wastage, and this will also minimize air bubbles too. When you're piping the batter onto the paper, try to place the tip in the center, and when it's almost reached the lines, make a quick swirl, then lift, or you can jerk the tip away. Then just repeat this until your baking sheet is filled. You can see that these don't look like macarons yet, so dip your finger in water, and you may need to wet it a couple of times for 1 macaron. Just tap the top of the macaron and it will smooth out. We are just trying to mimic the look of a macaron here. Once all the macarons are smooth, let it dry overnight. I tried dehydrating the macarons in the oven for 2 hours and it did not go well. When I baked them, they did not rise, and also they dried quite lumpy. So your best bet is to leave them on your bench top overnight. Bake at 250 degrees Fahrenheit or 120 degrees Celsius for 7 minutes. Flip your baking tray around so you get an even bake, and then you would bake for another 7 minutes. As with other macaron recipes, you need to perform an oven shower. An oven shower is your baking being left in your oven while your oven has been turned off. The whole point of an oven shower is to dry your macarons out so you get the right texture, crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. If your macarons are not drying out, just change your parchment or baking paper because you probably have gone soggy after an hour. And my total time of an oven shower was 2 hours. So my benchmark or my goal was all around recreating a regular store-bought French macaron. And I basically did, it's got the right texture, it's got the right taste and crunch. The only thing I would say I haven't achieved is that two different, a smooth layer and a rough layer, I think. But for me, this is a pretty good keto French macaron. I haven't actually come across a better one than that. And look at the width, it's not a bad size. Aside from myself, I actually haven't heard of anybody baking a keto French macaron successfully or being happy with it. So if you're thinking that this keto macaron looks way more complicated than other keto French macaron recipes, it's because it does require more steps and a lot more care. For me and for my skills, this is the best keto French macaron recipe that I could create. And bear in mind, I've tested this at least 10 times. I started off with the original keto French macaron. I've tried the 3-ingredient French macaron, just all using sweeteners. And speaking of sweeteners, I use the classic white monk fruit, so just your regular sweetener. I know for some people monk fruit has a burning sensation, so I would say use your favorite. And you can use your favorite because we melt the sweetener, so that was very important for me to achieve. That's all the tips and tricks that I have for you. I also want to say thank you so much for all of you who wish me well to get better. I think it really spurred me on and I kept working even though I was still getting better. I was also rushing to get back so you didn't have to deal with that guy.
Hey, people like me. Someone called me eye candy, thank you.
That's because they haven't seen him without makeup on. Well.
Rude. Focus.
Well, I hope you do get to try this keto French macaron recipe and let me know what you think, and I hope you are successful. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and be well.